Users on social media had a little bit of a fun time on Wednesday after Guns N' Roses frontman Axl Rose let Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin have it. Now, the rock star let loose on social media. He tweeted this out. It's official. Whatever anyone may have previously thought about Steve Mnuchin, he's officially an asshole. Very official. To which Mnuchin had replied, well, what have you done for America lately? Now, I love that response because it's like, oh yeah, what have you done? It's always fun, and I see this whenever, I've argued with plenty of people about like, hey, the government's not doing enough to take care of people or to do this. Oh yeah, what are you doing? Well, I'm not an elected official. That's not my job. Hey, if it was my job, then I would be doing everything I could to do that, but it's not. It's literally your job. It's literally Steve Mnuchin's job to help the American people. So it's a curious question, right? Because Mnuchin is supposed to be in charge of trying to help the American people weather this pandemic. So what has he done so far? Well, one $1,200 check. I mean, it's better than nothing, right? It's $1,200 per person, but it's a one-time check, and it gets eaten up by rent. And that's it. It barely covers a month of rent. And then what are you supposed to do with the other bills? I mean, if you can't get unemployment benefits, which some Americans can't, or if you're unable to navigate the broken down unemployment systems, which have you wait sometimes for months to be able to even get your benefit, which they are quickly moving to try to take away, by the way, that $1,200 check ain't enough. It's not enough. Now, one thing Mnuchin had successfully done, instead of help the American people, is to help his corporate friends and direct trillions of dollars of bailout money to the top, the wealthiest corporations, the ones that didn't actually need it. So what have you done for America? Indeed, that's a good question. So the best part of his response was the fact that Mnuchin accidentally used the Liberian flag emoji instead of a American flag, leading him, of course, to delete that tweet and try again, which is always fun. But look, if you delete a tweet on the internet, well, it's never really gone. That tweet, actually deleting something, actually gives it more attention. And so, as a result, he was widely mocked on social media, which is, again, a lot of fun. So, some of the responses include, a couple of hours ago, Axl Rose had described the Secretary of the Treasury accurately. Agreed. Dixie Ann says, clearly more than you, since I'm sure Axl would know the difference between the American flag and the Liberian one. Ouch. Axl and Guns N' Roses had an enormous 4-year tour that generated boatloads of tax revenue for you to pump back into the market. You should be thanking him, not trolling him. Another says, Axl is an artist with millions of fans, hit records, and contributed to charity. Steve is a former investment banker from Goldman Sachs and a wannabe producer who stumbled his way into becoming Secretary of the Treasury and is part of the bungled federal response to COVID-19 and the Paycheck Protection Program. So now the PPP loan program, right, was very poorly administered. There were a lot of companies that actually got bailouts that shouldn't have, and that ended up having to return that money. That was overseen by Steve Mnuchin. And now there is also a lack of oversight for one of the other bailout programs, which can be leveraged many times, up to 10 times, by corporations up to $5 trillion. It's just a nice bailout slush fund that could also end up benefiting his boss. Now, more. Another one says, basically quotes, Guns N' Roses' song from 1991, Civil War. Said Axl is right. He's always been right. I don't need your civil war. Feeds the rich while it buries the poor. You're power-hungry selling soldiers in a human grocery store. So, again, that was all the way back in 91. Guns N' Roses. Another person says he's done some good stealing, and links to an article about, of course, Mnuchin's rampant corruption at the Treasury Department. Another says he didn't delay coronavirus economic recovery checks so Trump could get his name on them. Also true. Another in the chat here says, I don't believe Axl made his money foreclosing on people like Mnuchin had at One West Bank, in which Kamala Harris refused, of course, to prosecute him for. Very important. Another one says Axl is inserting his name on Twitter to try to dunk on people during one of the worst economic collapses in our nation's history, while he is supposed to be managing our fiscal policy. And another one says, thank you, we've gone too long without any cabinet secretaries fighting with members of Guns N' Roses on Twitter. What's next? Somebody fighting with Trapped? Oh, wait, that's already happened. To be fair, though, Trapped is on the Trump side. Yeah. All right. Look, perhaps Mnuchin's time would be better spent actually working for the American people instead of the donors. And instead of feuding on social media. Maybe some of the people who still haven't received their relief checks might actually start to see them. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.